Hey Grandpa, Jules and I are going to make you a little video here to show you this back routine. We're going to start with stretching, and you want to do your stretches beforehand and then do the stretches at the end again. Probably best to have some shorts like this and something soft so you don't rub your tailbone away on the carpet, like a yoga mat or a whole big pile of towels or something like that. But it wants to be about this size and flat, okay, with an inch of padding or so on. Okay, so stretching. The first stretch is a hamstring stretch, but we're not going to stretch like this. We're not going to try and touch our toes because that's bad for bad back people. We're going to stretch with our hamstring by putting our heel up on the counter or the arm of a chair or anything that's about the right height. Okay? Hands on your shoulders like this is the best way to keep your chest square, and then just lean your chin out towards your toe. Not curling over like this, but trying to touch your chin to your toe till you feel the stretch in your hamstring here. Okay? And you can do that with your opposite leg, your supporting leg straight. Ideally, bend your knee a little to increase the stretch, and do that for about a minute, feeling the stretch all the time here. Then turn your supporting foot out 90 degrees, and this will give you a different stretch, and sink down again a little bit. And again, try and touch your chin to your toe. That's the best way to stretch your hamstrings. And for people with bad back, it's absolutely key to stretch your hamstrings. It's one of the most powerful things that you can learn to do. What I do is I do it when I'm brushing my teeth, because that way it gets done twice, in the morning and then again at night. And I've coupled the two things together, so I'm just doing this. The second stretch, which I know you know, is knees to chest. First together, and then individually. This is stretching your back and your hip. And this is the setup to the next stretch, which is the back rotation. And this is really important because this is the one that unlocks your vertebrae if they lock up, like the chiropractor does. So in this case, put both arms out one way, which will help to counterweight you, and slowly, carefully rotate your knees. And at the end, breathe out. Because as you breathe out, and your lung volume goes down, and your stomach muscles contract, and you relax, it tenses the muscles that hold your back being locked up. And if you do that, and you get into practice, you'll find that you can unlock your vertebrae just like the chiropractor does by doing that. And sometimes it's not the motion that unlocks them, it's the breathing out. And spend about a minute just letting the stretch work. That's also one of the most powerful. The hamstring stretch and that rotation, I think, are the most powerful. The last stretch or two stretches are for your hips. The first one is a double hip stretch, where basically you squat down like this, push your knees apart as far as you can get them, and just relax back a little bit like this, and you'll feel your entire hip joint stretch here. And for people with a bad back, this is very important too. It helps to unlock the whole of your lower back. So that's a double hip stretch. And then if you can do it as well, there's an individual hip stretch which is very good, where from a kneeling position, if you can, you bring one foot forward, put your knee down on the ground as you push forward like that, with your foot pointing underneath you, going the other way. In fact, I'll turn around because it'll be easier to see. Like this. And then just push backwards and lean into the stretch, and you'll feel a stretch in your hip and your groin area here. Just gently. and relax into that. And do this on both hips if you can, and it will help unlock your hips, which prepares you for doing more back stretching. We're not going to do any heavy exercises at all. We're barely going to use any extra weight in any of these. They're stretching and body weight exercises, and this is all you need to keep your lower back healthy. Okay, that's the stretching done. First exercise we're going to do is for lower abdominals, and it's actually quite hard to work your lower abdominals only and uncouple your upper abdominals. It's very easy to develop your upper abdominals, as you can see from this muscle here, but it's very difficult to develop your lower abdominals independently. So 2 exercises for lower abdominals. The first one is called legs passing. So laying on your back, head down, your legs do this. And the crucial thing here is not to do a bicycle. People do this exercise like this, hurt themselves. It's not what you're meant to do. This exercise is powerful because it requires the opposite sides of the body to tense in opposite directions. So it's almost like a double workout. So think about touching your heel to the floor and bringing your knee in just like you do like this, but essentially it's adding to it by doing it dynamically, very slowly. You only have to do it 15 or 20 times, and you can do as many sets as you feel comfortable with. Again, you will need the padding, because otherwise it'll tend to hurt your tailbone, especially with your skin. So this is legs passing. The second one is legs rotating. So essentially it's the dynamic version of the stretch we did before, but what you have to try and think about is not pushing off with your arms. So letting your knees stay together, keeping them together, and gently rotating them, not letting them fall to the floor, but trying to control them as they go to the floor. And not pushing off like that to get back up. This is working your lower abdominals. Your upper abdominals, we're going to do 2 exercises. The first one is the crunch, and the second one is called the Russian twist. Don't ask me why it's Russian. Your crunch, basically, you're trying to touch your chin to your knees, not curling up like this, but just trying to pivot from here and using your upper abdominal muscles to try and pull your chin straight up. Okay, I'm going to use a little weight here, but I would suggest that you start without it. This is the Russian twist. Okay, touching your hands to the floor, hands to the floor, hands to the floor, hands to the floor. You'll see my knees are bent, my heels are off the ground, but I would start with your heels on the ground. Don't be deceived. This is quite a powerful exercise, even if it feels easy, because it works, not these muscles here, but it works the obliques. So this is the twist. And to make it harder, you can take one of your little weights and just touch it to the floor. And to make it harder again, keep your heels off the floor while you do it. And just do that 10 times or 20 times, whatever you're comfortable with. So those are the 2 exercises for your upper abdominals. So now we're going to do the back exercises. And we're only going to do 2. Both of them fairly simple. The first one is body weight squats. Okay. Put your hands on the front of your legs turn your toes out slightly, knees below your hips or further out, and squat as low as you can. And that's all we're going to do. No weights, nothing else. And that strengthens your abdominals, your hips, your lower back for normal daily use, all your core exercises. As much as possible, think about not doing this. Think about trying to keep your shoulders back and your back straight. Move your feet out if it feels better. Point your toes out if it feels better. You're just trying to sink into your heels like that. And if that's comfortable, or another way to think about it to keep the form correct is to think about adding a row like this. That's a body weight squat. And you don't need any more than this to help your back stay healthy. Think about keeping your shoulders back, pushing your hips forward. Keeping your shoulders back, pushing your hips forward. No weights required, just a gentle squat. And there's nothing stopping you at the start from holding onto a bar or steadying yourself on something so you can get the range of motion without the load. Very, very simple. Keep it very simple. And the final one is the plank. So this is referred to as the plank. Elbows on the floor, forearms on the floor, pushed up on your toes. And this is a high plank. This is a low plank. This is a dynamic plank. This is a pretty hard exercise to do until you get used to it. But you build strength in your back and your abdominals very quickly doing this. This is the modified version, which I would start with. Knees on the floor, elbows on the floor. And the key is making this bridge, because of course, just like the mast, you have the forestays and the back stays working together here to keep you straight. And if you can do this for a minute, then you're good. And just keep working to try and make it longer. And ultimately, if you can, put your toes down and push up and do this. It's a lot harder work than it looks, but it's a great exercise for strengthening your back and your abs. And that's it. That's all we're going to do. And before finishing, we're going to stretch again. Hamstrings. Just a minute each. Knees to chest. Together. Then individual to help the range of motion on the hips. Then the rotation. Breathe out and relax. This one usually makes you fart as well. And finally, hips. Don't be afraid to slow down and take your time. None of these are intended to be against the clock. They'll probably make you sweat, but they're not meant to make you lose weight. They're intended to stretch your muscles, increase your range of motion, and improve core strength. There we go. Hope that works. Look forward to your feedback. Thank you.